Taurus, hi, it's Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au, and I'm paying particular attention right now to your horoscope for October 2015. And in the light of the introduction that I just gave on self-empowerment, I'd like to talk about your horoscope for this month. And some fairly significant things are happening now. And when we talk about self-empowerment, it's important to consider where the planet Jupiter is in its movement, apart from where it is at the time you were born. Right now we see both Mars and Jupiter transiting in this fifth house of creativity, love, romance, children. Now, often we break that up. We have these different topics associated with this area of your life, or rather these areas of your life associated with this sector of the horoscope. But what I'm saying to you in terms of that self-empowerment, if you can bring to all of these different departments of life a creative energy, a love and a dedication, then that department of life or that department of life will all fall under the one sort of expression, if that makes any sense. In other words, your love affairs. If you are experiencing difficulty there during this period, and I'm not saying you are, but I mean, even if you're not, you can always enhance and improve that, then this combination of Mars and Jupiter, which we see perfecting around the 18th of the month. So all this month, particularly from around the 10th till the 18th, you'll feel that desire to expand and grow. If you bring that creative love and attention to the relationship, that's when you start to see the empowerment, self-empowerment, which in turn empowers the things that we are talking about here this month. So that Mars and Jupiter is a very powerful combination in this area. We see also in the last few weeks, this is an interesting dual planetary combo for you. Saturn has just moved out of your relationship sector. That's been transiting that area for the last 2.5 years. Saturn, we must say, for the sun sign of Taurus, is a reasonably good planet. It still has its inherent problems, in other words. It constricts, it delays, it cools things down. So it's just moved out of this area, so you can sort of feel relieved about that. And now you have this combined influence of Mars and Jupiter bringing this creative impulse to the whole process of your love affairs. Not just your love affairs, this has to do with your overall relationships and patterns in relationship. We see also, as an example of some of the challenges you have this month to that self-empowerment, by the preceding opposition aspect, what we call an opposition, which is around 180 degrees, and that is the Mars opposition to Neptune on the 17th. So that's taking place around the same time that we see the perfect conjunction of Mars and Jupiter. And this brings with it some sense that you're not able to, bring into reality the desires you have for this relationship. So whilst you do have the option there to be creative and to bring your best love and expansive ideas, you may still be opposed. And this is happening in the 11th house. So there may be people around you that are trying to stifle you or trying to influence the way you make your decisions in your relationships. The 11th house is also elder siblings. So for some of you, maybe there could be a disapproving eye or a disapproving word over the relationships that you're feeling confident now that you want to empower, that you want to move forward with, particularly if Saturn has now moved out of that area. Let's not limit this simply to the idea of relationships. There may be work circumstances as well in which you wish to, make a decision or move forward on, and that disapproval could extend to those areas of your life. The retrogression of Mercury might also have something to do with that, being in the 6th house of your workplace activities. And there is a lot of energy in this area this month as well, even though I commenced your reading talking about the relationships, the Sun and Mercury, and also the North Node, which is just about to exit that area. The retrogression of Mercury, showing a revisionary cycle here up until the 10th of October, but thereafter as well requiring a little bit of time to pick up its motion in direct speed. So that tells us that you have to be a little bit patient if you've been finding it hard to get answers, to make decisions, to get those appropriate meetings or letters and information that you've been waiting on. After the 10th is the likely time that you can do so, but what I'm saying is just give it another week or two before it picks up motion. The Sun will move out of that area as well on the 23rd, making that part of your life a lot freer. You are going to be analysing more about your work and what you want. That we can see from the 2 planets that rule your 10th house of career, Saturn and Uranus. Now, Uranus is going to spend a long time in your 12th house, one of the hidden houses of the zodiac. It's also retrograde at the moment, so again a revisionary period. And then Saturn, which has just moved into your 8th house, is also the co-ruler of your professional life. And moving into the 8th house, another hidden house or mysterious house, a house of rebirth, regeneration, death and rebirth, tells us very, very clearly that the methods of self-empowerment for you throughout this period have much to do with the clarification in your professional life and what you need to do in that area. Now, going back to the first thing I talked about, which was the creativity, then you need to bring that element to your work as well. Part of the revision that you're going through now will have to do with the fact that you are no longer happy to simply go by rote like a robot through the daily motions of your work. And if you have been, then this is going to be creating a lot of frustration, and you're going to have to do something about that. You want to do something about that, and I believe you will. So that's good news, and particularly in terms of the fact, and I've jumped about a little bit, I'm trying not to be too chronological in my assessment of the horoscope. I'd like to just get more to the specifics and the topics at the heart of what's going on, and if the dates jump around, so be it. But the new moon, which takes place also in Libra in your 6th house, this is the area that we've been talking about, your working environment, the people you work with, the methodologies you bring to your work, will start to change at that time. And the new moon is also a very important factor in bringing with it the desire for change and the opportunity to start something new, to turn over a new leaf in that area of your life. So that's all very, very good as well. You've got some awesome power there with Mars and Pluto around the 16th, Mars again being in that 5th house, Pluto in your 9th house, and the actual month of October starts with what we call a grand trine with the moon in Taurus. So these 3 earth signs form a triangle in the heavens, and these are earth signs, again accentuating what I'm saying about the practical affairs of your life, the financial affairs. And that should show us a bit of an easing up and less pressure for you in those particular areas, notwithstanding the fact that Mars and Pluto are pretty intense. But I think it's safe to say that that creative energy is going to be directed very, very well, very easily, with less obstruction to you this month. So let's have a look here. There are a couple of other aspects there. Some pretty hard communications may take place around the 23rd. That's at the time the Sun moves out of the sign of Libra. there could be some sort of emotional blackmail associated with the discussions you have at that time. The last week of the month may not be so easy, especially with the Sun moving to Scorpio, that Mercury square to Pluto, which rules Scorpio, and then that really bizarre and abrupt electric opposition aspect from Mercury to Uranus, just after it's gone into its forward motion and you think everything's back on track, bang, you'll be veering to the left or right unexpectedly. So jot that down in your diary and be prepared for that. But again, if you're going into all of these aspects with a victimhood attitude, of course, it's going to be tough. Even if it's tough, but you go in with an attitude of self-awareness, with the objective of empowering yourself, then you're going to use all this stuff as food for thought and fuel for self-growth. The full moon on the 27th, just around that time, happens in the sign of Taurus, which is your sun sign. So this is going to bring with it a whole new sequence of energies that almost compel you to become a new you, to deal with all of these facets of your life in a very, very different way. And that can only be good, even if the interim period is a little bit challenging for you, Taurus. I'll be here next month. Hope you'll join me again. I want to continue this along the lines of self-empowerment, as the introduction spoke of today. And in the meantime, by all means, join me at my website, astrology.com.au, for a contextualized view of what's happening this month, daily readings, yearly readings, a lot of other free stuff. Take care. Thanks for joining me again. Bye-bye.